What's worse, the ending of one of the Chibnall era episodes where the joke is that the family have lost. I think it's probably Resolution of the Daleks, where the family have to make a joke about talking to each other, or the cold opening of this episode, where the Doctor and Donna bump into Isaac Newton, buying an apple in 1666. Not sure, but boy, was this episode wild! Like from start to finish. I'm gonna flat out not mince my words here. The premise of this episode was so good. It's very. I've not seen the thing, but I understand it's like a shapeshift. The whole thing about them constantly being separated, so they don't know which of the other one is them. I don't know if that's. I mean, no, that has been done Doctor Who before, because we've had doubles in Doctor Who before. We've had people impersonate companions, we've had people impersonate the Doctor. But like, for everyone to kind of be that is like that, but like the next dimension, which is great. And it's effectively like a ball episode. I mean, apart from the cold opening and the epilogue, which is how I'll call them, there isn't actually any other kind of characters in this, or any other actors rather, in this episode. It's just Lieutenant and Catherine Tate acting against Donna Noble and Catherine Tate, and frankly, that's just really good. I really enjoyed that. I don't know how much I wanted to see a CGI elongated. You know the scene in Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves when Chris Pine melts, and how that was objectively the funniest joke in the film? That was this, but in Doctor Who, which it's fantastic. But also like just the whole like thriller like aspect of it. I mean, the idea that hate permeates further than love. I want to know, was that a direct kind of take that? Was that sorry, sauce down my throat, up right in my lungs? Was that a direct take that Interstellar? Because you know how the whole joke in Interstellar is that love permeates through the dimensions, where here it's like, nah, it's hate. Hate's just like emits from our universe, and these shapeless beings who have no kind of individuality have just like taken that as like the core meaning of everything. It was a chilling concept, and then them slowly like learning the shape, the language, the thoughts, the like being able to like have like deeper cognition. That was so good. Them having like kind of like play mind games with each other, I really like. Kind of like figure out who's who. I love the sequence where the Doctor was just like, I can't like this episode's very Moffat-esque in the idea that, I mean, he kind of already did it with Time Heist, where the people doing the robbery can't think too deeply, but it wasn't so much they couldn't think, it was more a case of they couldn't like have any malicious thoughts in their brain. Well, this is like, don't think at all, because if you work it out, they will work it out, and you'll teach them. And balls. And the Doctor having to like not think was just really cool. I like it's very Moffat-esque in that whole like takes. I mean, Moffat-esque. It's also very kind of Davies-esque. It's very kind of Midnight. Hoping on Midnight is the Doctor's like biggest abilities is their ability kind of like to bring everyone together, and take charge and like use authority, and you take that away, and what do you get? Whereas here, that scene was like a Doctor camping, and just like David does a really good job of like kind of balancing that struggle. I'm sure both of them had a lot of fun playing the villains. I mean, David and Clay had a lot of fun playing the villain, being like the whole like growly monster type in Doctor Who. Their faces kind of like was built for that. What else? I like the set. I was just watching the Unleashed behind. I keep throwing my freaking lens cap into my plate full of sauce. I need to stop doing that. They were talking about how the set was built. I do like it was like very modular, but also kind of the virtual setness of it. This scene, I could not get over this scene. And I'm kind of half glad that they learned how to like overcome these two elements fairly quickly, because I think I just would have been taken out of the entire episode if it was just like these. It's very Almost People, I guess, in that respect. But it's supposed to like clever throughout the fact that like, you know, they couldn't like believe two things at once, so they couldn't understand that something could be like a superstition but also be true. And so the Doctor like was able to use salt to keep him back for a second until they were able to catch up. And then there's like kind of like very ominous line about how playing with superstition this far, you know, plays with the barrier of like science and magic, and that I'm very fond of that concept in science fiction of like the blurring the lines between the two of those. It was very much a thriller horror. There were like elements of like, I mean, I think there's like really one jump scare, and that was when the door closed. I think I was just them, you know, being like, we know you're expecting a jump scare, so have one here. Oh god, that sauce has gone up my nose. Well, not my nose, but it's going into my throat. I don't have any water either. Oh, the first time that they revealed that there was these doppelgangers on board the ship, and you had that sequence where you got Don and the Doctor walks in, and you don't expect anything, and then they cut to like Doctor in the other room, and I was like, well, what was this, a flashback? Did we cover something that he did earlier? And then we see Don walk in, I'm like, oh, and then that was so well done, and I like that they didn't like play with around that too long, because you should never have the audience be further ahead than the characters. So they kept it long for long enough. So, like having them all meet together and having different like issues, like it constantly. That's very good writing. It constantly evolved. At first, it was like we just didn't know who was who, or why rather they did, but they didn't know what the issue is. Then it was like we didn't know who was who, and then the one after that, was them all in the same room, not knowing who was who, or rather the good guys not knowing who was who, and then after that it was they couldn't be thinking. It was very much like a ball episode. Like this is like, but somehow this is like bigger. This felt. This for me, for sure, is much more memorable than last week's episode. This is this is so good. This is an episode I'm going to come back to so many times to like pick up on the nuances of like information and like listen to the dialogue again and everything like that. Even though it's essentially the ball episode, like it's only really ever set in the TARDIS, and it's also like they got rid of the TARDIS, they got rid of the sonic screwdriver. It was literally like the most bare bones of each that they could possibly do. but you know, sometimes it's like going to like, the bare scraps for concept and just playing around with that for an hour produces the best forms of art. I did not expect this early for them to refer back to the Flux. That was so good. As someone who is a Flux proponent, someone who likes, and not that, the Timeless Children arc as well. For someone who's actually a big advocate for that and like strongly like endorses it, I did not expect them to expect Davis to like refer back to it so early. Clearly, he I think he kind of made an attempt to push that in. Not that it was like out of place, because it was like made sense for them both to kind of be like picking about elements of their past and how they kind of approached it. But I think he wanted to put that into this episode as soon as he could, so that oh god, my stomach. I've got a burp stuck in my throat. I think he did that as soon as possible because of the criticisms, and people were like, "Oh, Davis is gonna retcon Timeless Children, or he's gonna ignore it, or he might make a passing remark," but they flat out have made it like a strong part of the canon, and I'm so happy about that. Yeah, God, this was a really good episode. This was simple. It's one of those episodes where the plot is so simple that you can focus on like the narrative, but it has that really good distinct Doctor Who moment of characters working things out, and so you get to feel clever along with them, and they're like, oh, it's a countdown, oh, it's everything's like gone very slowly, oh, it's the captain's made this plan years ago and it's about to come to fruition, and then just the Doctor running after the Doctor is just, again, like, I think that's another really good shot. I really love this episode. So yeah, gosh, I think I need to lie down. I don't know why, I'm just really dizzy. So I'm gonna go do that, recover, and enjoy the rest of my evening. But really enjoyed the episode. And now we're going, next week is the return of the toy maker, and the scene with Bernard was really lovely. Will was really lovely. I think from watching Unleashed, that's his only scene, so presumably this and then the resolution of the cliffhanger, assuming that we pick up exactly where we left off, and there isn't like a time gap. That was a lovely scene for him to come back to. He was clearly like very passionate about doing that, so that was good to see. But yeah, next episode, the trailer included the Doctor regenerating. I'm still kind of holding out for this face being an illusion, but that trailer shot couldn't suggest otherwise. But then again, we've had fake out regeneration shots before. In fact, actually, every time I think we have had a regeneration shot in the trailer, it's been a fake out one. So that's something to think about. But I mean, I think I've warmed up more. I've warmed up more to the idea that a actor can return to the role of the Doctor. I think especially because Baker's already technically done it. I'm still cold to the idea that we had to return to like an era rather than the Doctor. Then again, this episode couldn't really have worked if it was with any other kind of, I mean, maybe another companion of Tennant's previous incarnation, but it would have been still the same complaint. Anywho, thanks for watching. I'm gonna go lie down, and I'll probably be streaming some video game, well, Spider-Man, sooner or later, once I've kind of stretched back out. Okay, see you later.